just for our listeners, Dr. Murad Mokbel is an associate professor of information systems at the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. He earned his PhD in management information systems from Texas A&M International University and holds an MBA with a concentration in information systems from Emporia State University. His research explores human behavior in relation to information technologies, including technology addiction. And with over a decade of work experience, including a role at H&R Block, he has received several awards and serves on an editorial boards for various journals and conferences. Once again, thank you for joining us. Doctor, how would you define problematic smartphone use in the context of teenagers?
So first, let me define problematic use of smartphones, and then I will get into the context of teenagers. So problematic use of smartphones is used interchangeably with addictive use of smartphones or smartphone addiction. So smartphone addiction or problematic use of smartphones refers to excessive use of smartphones to the point that it has harmful consequences on other aspects of life, such as work or school, health, or relationships. So smartphone addiction, although it is not recognized as an official diagnosis of addiction, but it has several symptoms that it shares with other behavioral addictions, such as gambling or video game addiction that has been recognized by the World Health Organization. So those symptoms include tolerance. So the more they use it, the more they want to use it even more. Relapse. So when they try to quit or reduce that addictive use, they go back to it again. Just kind of conflict, loss of control, mood modifications. Just kind of some of those symptoms that are shared with other behavioral addiction. So in terms of teenagers, you can actually see that addictive use of smartphones by teenagers from the moment they wake up, they are glued to their smartphones, to the moment they go to bed at night. And you can notice that while they are on train, whether they are actually in the dining table or in a restaurant or even just walking sometimes, you see them that they are attached and glued to their phones. So that's kind of shows the addictive, it is the behavior rather than the time of use, the urge that they feel like they have to do something with their phone. And maybe let me also in this context to share a personal story that happened to me. 2 days ago, I was praying at the masjid, in Jama'ah, and then one teenager was praying next to me, and I noticed that in the middle of the salah, he pulled out his smartphone from his pocket just to check, and then he put it back. 2 minutes later, while we are still in the middle of the salah, he pulled out his smartphone from his pocket and checked it and put it back. So that's kind of what is the problematic side of smartphone use. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, you have, and of course, this is something that is increasing, and with the way that technology is advancing, it is becoming an even more dangerous and worrying situation. Which also leads to my next question: that what trends have been observed in smartphone usage among different age groups, whether that's the young or the old?
So among teenagers and young children, I have noticed that they usually use smartphones for video games, for social media, or for short messaging or messaging apps. And one trend that can be obvious of teenagers and young children is the use of short videos like TikTok or shorts in YouTube, or reels or memes. So just kind of to name a few. And this has been a way to overcome boredom because they get bored easily. If they are not using a smartphone, they keep telling their parents, "Oh, I am bored, I am bored." So it seems to be those shorts kind of fulfill that need for overcoming boredom, and their attention meets their need for that attention, and that attention span of individuals, unfortunately, has been affected with those immediate and constant notifications that they get through their smartphones. They're multitasking, while they are using smartphones. So the attention span of humans in the early 2000s used to be 12 seconds, while the attention span of a goldfish is 9 seconds. However, today, the attention span of individuals is actually 8 seconds, which is less than the goldfish attention span. And that's kind of one of the problems of this smartphone addiction or problematic use of smartphones. In terms of adults normally or usually use smartphones for instrumental use or practical use. So they use it, for work-related aspects, for managing their calendars, or browsing the internet, or accessing news. But they also use it for personal use, and this personal use can maybe watching videos or YouTube, just kind of to take a rest or for a break. So I hope that kind of answer your second question.
Yep, you have answered that perfectly. Leading on to the next question, can you explain the relationship between problematic smartphone use and mental health issues such as anxiety and depression?
So in my research, I found that there is a direct link, but also I focused on the mechanisms through what are the factors through which smartphone addiction impacts mental health. So one of the major findings or the major factors that impact mental health is actually the impact of addictive use or problematic use of smartphones on sleep quality. So you might notice individuals that, especially before they go to bed, they scroll through videos, especially those short videos, and by the time they realize that they are way beyond their sleep time. So the quality of sleep, actually, smartphone use impacts the quality of sleep, which is a major factor that impacts mental health. So that's one of the findings. Another finding is that, is mindfulness. And I found that smartphone addiction or smartphone problematic use impacts attention or does attention bias. So individuals who are addicted to smartphones, they tend to be biased to the features that smartphone provides them for their addictive use and ignore other aspects of life like, health and work related, which definitely affects mental health. Another finding is reading. So I found that reading can help reduce the harmful impact of problematic use of smartphones on mental health. Other scholars also in my field found that social comparison, so for example, on social media, usually people post the best moments in their lives. And teenagers or individuals, when they saw that, they feel like, well, other people have better life than mine, and so that kind of impacts their mental health. Other aspect that other scholars found is information overload, and just kind of to name a few, those are kind of impacting that mental health. So I hope that answers your question.
Yep, you have. And Doctor, very lastly, what are some strategies that teenagers can use to develop a healthier relationship with their smartphones?
So problematic use of smartphones is similar to the problems that we had in the past. So when the TV first came out, people were afraid of TV addiction or problematic use of TV. And then the internet came and people were afraid of that. Smartphone came. Now we are afraid and impacted by it. So it's like everything else that in life we need to consume it in moderation. So it's like chocolate or sugar. If we use it excessively, then it's going to be harmful. So we need to learn how to use it in moderation and set limits. So, for example, you decide that I want to set a limit for my use or consumption of smartphone. I will use it after work as a break, or I will use it after I finish my homework, just kind of as a break. And then also some phones like iPhone has features that can allow individuals to control their use. So, for example, that screen time feature in iPhone allows individuals to set maybe 1 hour or half an hour for certain apps. That way you can overcome that addictive urge to use some of those apps that are addictive. So the other thing is I would suggest is setting what we call it tech-free zones. So for example, the dining table can be, a tech-free zone. When we are in the dining table, nobody uses their phone in the house, in the living room, in the bedroom, right? The other thing is, because we talked about sleep quality, so using that night mode of the phone, that way when individuals use their phone at night, at least it doesn't impact their vision, and then they have better quality. And those are kind of some of the recommendations, but also those are individual-based recommendations. But if the individual feels they can't, after going through all of those, they still can't overcome their addictive use to smartphones, I would recommend that they seek help from adults, or from even mental health professionals to overcome that issue.
Thank you, Doctor, for those tips and for joining us as well. And obviously, in a world currently where technology, social media, mobile phones, they're ever developing and they're increasing rapidly, we should obviously also pray that where we use this new technologies for our benefit, that we also stay away from their harmful effects for ourselves, for our children, and for the next generations to come. And I would like to thank you, Doctor, once again for joining us, and it was a pleasure having you on our show. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you.
Thank you very much, brother. It was my pleasure and honor for me to be in your show.
Thank you once again. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
So that was our interview that we did with
Murad Maqbool.
Murad Maqbool, yeah. So he he gave us some really good